Hi, welcome to this episode of HuntFlorida TV. My name is Tony Young, your host. And on this show, I thought I'd like to show you guys, there's a lot of times people think there's a mystery, in how to score, a buck's antlers, for Boone and Crockett. And it's really not that hard, not that complicated at all. And I thought on this episode, I can show, the hunters out there, how you can gross score your buck to see, how it measures out and if perhaps it might make entry into the Florida Buck Registry. I've got a European mount here, and this rack is not going to quite make the Florida Buck Registry, but just brought that for an example. And I've got a loose, a shed right here. Now, if you're scoring something for the Florida Buck Registry, first of all, both antlers need to be connected. They can't be loose like this. But anyway, just wanted to go over the different things, the measurements that you take in order to get your gross score in Boone and Crockett inches. Some of the things you're going to need: a tape measure. This is a kind of a fancy one, one that I can bend a little bit better. But for just doing a gross score, you can just something like that, or maybe you've got one of those cloth ones. Also, another tool that we use here when I'm measuring bucks for the Buck Registry is some of this cabling right here. But basically, it's really not all that much to it. And you can do it in whatever order you want. But basically, you're gonna take the measurements in inches, and you do it in 1/8 inches. Everything is in 1/8 inch. You take the measurement of each of the main beams. So, main beam meaning, all the way to the end. Okay? So for this one right here, you're just going to take your, take your cabling, take whatever you want to use, hold it down here, and you want to run along the blood line, along that, along the line there, right there to the end. Okay, you take that measurement of the left one, you take the same of the right one, and then you have your two main beam measurements. Okay, and then all you're going to do is you're going to take all the measurements of your points. These are these are called eye guards, brow tines, G1s, whatever you want to call them. But you take that measurement the same way, and what you want to do is you want to imagine that there's a line right here. There's an imaginary line that runs on the top of this main beam right here, and that's where you want to take your measurement right there. Okay, so you want to draw like a line as if there was not a point here, and this main beam was just smooth, and you want to mark it there, and then you want to take your measurement all the way to the top, and follow the curvature if there's a curvature, and you want to you add up those points. Here's your G2s the same way. You imagine this line right here, and then you're going to mark it. Then you're going to take that measurement right to the end. Okay, so you measure both your G2s and then G3s the same way. And then of course, if it's a 10-point or a 12-point, then you've got more points to add. So more points to measure and add. But so far what we've done is we've taken a measurement of each of the main beams. We've taken a measurement of all of the points off of the main beams, and the next thing to do is to take the circumference measurements. Now all racks get 4 circumference measurements per side, no matter if it's a 6-point, 8-point like this, 10-point, 12-point, whatever. And what I mean is you take the circumference, the distance around here, from where it comes off the skull, before that first point, you take this measurement, and you don't take the measurement in its biggest place and its thickest place. You actually find the smallest circumference, and that's the measurement that you use. So you take something like this tape here, if you've got something like this, and you go around like this, and you pull it tight. See if you can see this. You pull it tight until you find the smallest spot, and that's the measurement right there. So you take one for each, and then the next circumference measurement is going to be between the first point and the second point. So it's going to be right here, okay, right there. And again, you find the smallest spot, which is probably going to be right here. You keep working it until you find the smallest measurement, unfortunately, and you take that's your measurement. Then your third circumference measurement is going to be between the second point and the third point. So right here, right in here somewhere, okay. And because this is an 8-point, there is not, on your fourth circumference measurement, since there's not another point here, what you do is you measure the circumference halfway between where this point comes in, which is somewhere around right here, where my finger is, and the tip. So you take your tape and you get the halfway point, and then you take the circumference of that spot right there. And those are your 4 circumference measurements. So again, you have this one, the second one, the third one, and halfway between, that's the fourth one. You do that for the right side, same for the left side. So now again, what we've got is so far, we have measured the length of each of the main beams. We have measured the length of all of the points coming off those main beams. And now we have measured, we've given the rack 4 circumference measurements per side, okay? There's only one more thing left to do, and that is to take what's called the inside spread. And that is where you take your tape measure and you find the widest point of the main beam, and you take your tape measure and you pull it too. And that right there is going to be the inside spread, okay? So that's how you do that. And again, we use some of these. When we're doing stuff for scoring stuff for the Florida Buck Registry, we will take this cabling right here, and we will. Let me see if I can show you. We'll do it like that, and then we will follow that bloodline like this, right there, and then we will measure. We will take the tape measure out. (11 inches). And do it like that. So that's some of the tools that we use. But I just wanted to give you hunters out there, an idea of what you do to get your gross score of any racks that bucks that you take, because it's not as hard as people think. I mean, now that you've seen what all is involved, it's really not that hard at all, is it? Just to kind of paraphrase, if you can see this, all you're doing to get your gross score, you're taking the measurement of both main beams, plus all your points, plus 4 circumference measurements from each of the main beams, plus the inside spread, and that gives you your gross score. Okay. Now, to be entered into the Florida Buck Registry, typical racks, and this is going to be a typical rack. A non-typical rack is where you have drop tines and a lot of split points and different kickers and abnormal points and stuff like that. Odd shaped racks, but more symmetrical racks like this. This is a typical rack. All typical racks need to have minimum scores of at least 100 Boone and Crockett inches. Just like we measured there. And that's net score, not your gross score. What we just talked about was your gross score. Your net score is where you take the gross score, and if there's, you take any deductions where, where you can see that it looks like this G1 here is not quite as long as this G1. So what you do is you subtract the difference between this one and that one, and you subtract that, and that you take those differences on each of the differences between each of the main beams, the differences between each of the points, and the differences between each of the matching circumference measurements, 4 on each side, and that is your deductions, going from your gross score to your net score. And as far as any abnormal points are those kickers and drop tines and stickers and where your points are split like that. Those points, those abnormal points, are actually, if it's a typical score, they're going to be actually deducted from your gross score to get your net score on a typical rack. On a non-typical rack, those abnormal points are actually added to your score, so it's actually a bonus. But you need to have 125 inches minimum to get into the Florida Buck Registry for a non-typical rack. So again, a typical rack such as this needs to have at least 100 Boone and Crockett inches, which this isn't going to quite make it, and a non-typical rack needs at least 125 Boone and Crockett inches. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. If you shot a buck this year that you think might meet those qualifications after I've now taught you how to rough score and how to gross score your buck. If you see that it's going to be over 100 inches for a typical or over 125 for a non-typical, call your FWC regional office and they will put you in touch with a biologist that can or one of us that score for the Florida Buck Registry that can score your deer and get you entered into the Florida Buck Registry and get you into the record books. And also you'll get a certificate in the mail, and it's a good thing. The Florida Buck Registry, the Fish and Wildlife Commission established it in 1982, and it's and that's another thing too. This isn't even just for deer that you shot this season. I mean, anything you shot in the past. If you think it'll score and you'd like to get it scored, maybe your dad shot one, maybe your grandfather shot one a long time ago. We can retro score these deer and put them back in the year that they were taken in. So if you'd like to get a deer entered into the Buck Registry, call your FWC regional office. We'd be glad to meet with you, score your rack, and put you in there. And if it scores, we'll send you a certificate. For more information on the Florida Buck Registry and for checking it out and looking at certain hunters and people who might have taken bucks in your county or by weapon or whatever, because you can do a query search and do that kind of stuff, just go to myfwc.com/deer. I'm Tony Young. Thank you for tuning in to Hunt Florida TV, and good luck this season.